Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 10 of the Surprise Lethal podcast. Joining me this time, we've got Sam, Lee, Kabaine, and Ben.
Yo.
Hello.
We'll go straight into it. It's actually been a while, once again, since the last episode. So we're still quite out of date with everything. In fact, the last episode was before the end of the EuroLeague season. So if there's anyone in the world who actually doesn't follow anything in real life and only listens to the podcast somehow, they won't know what the ladder looks like at the end of the season.
Ooh.
Spicy.
But I think basically going into the last tournament, it was a fight between me, Matt Mead, and Lee for the second spot because it seemed pretty certain that Ewan was gonna have the other one. I think there's no questioning that.
Yep, that's right.
I think Lee had the most work to do, the hardest score to replace, and I pretty much had to do as well as Matt because our scores were so similar. And in the end, in Swiss, I think you found out pretty soon you weren't gonna overtake us, Lee, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was the release weekend of new Symphogear, and when I knew I wasn't going to do well enough, I just drove home to get cards I forgot to bring with me, and then came back.
That is a mood.
In the time that took, we almost finished our top 4 game.
Yep.
Almost.
Oh, I guess another funny note is there was a mathematical possibility for Peter to get it. He had to go 8-0 and watch me, Matt, and Lee all flop. But he woke up too late to even come in the first place, so that was thrown out the window from the start.
Strong.
That's very Peter energy.
Yeah. I want to make this like pretty hasty because we've got a lot to talk about. But that tournament can be defined by how me and Matt were on course for a final to decide who takes the other spot. And I was left waiting for a very long time to see who my final opponent was between Matt and Sam because we had an untimed Goblin Slayer mirror. Which is an absolute disaster for a spectator to
I hate the mirror match so much, even more so when there's no time limit and it's Matt. Who's my opponent.
I think we should specify Priestess mirror here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, that took quite a while.
Yeah, both of our techs were like extra awkward to make the mirror match even longer because Matt had free freshes and I had heal events.
And it helps both of you when you're constantly drawing your climaxes and is a never-ending loop of Priestess.
Yeah.
And then the game arguably came down to a misplay from Matt, which meant he didn't kill Sam and died on the swing back.
Yeah, I honestly can't remember very much how it actually ended, but
I mean, we were both pretty drained from that match alone.
It was something like Sam had 4 cards left in deck, and Matt needed to do 5 damage and then plus the refresh, so 6 total to kill. Yeah. And he went swing for 2, swing for 2, and then swing with the Musashi.
Yeah, I think attack order was the important part, but I think he was also under the assumption I was 1 left in deck when that happened. Because
instead he could have gone swing for 2, direct for 3 with the Musashi, making you cancel off the top of the refresh deck rather than having taking the 4 clean and then having the mad overswing on the last attack. Yeah, that was what happened.
Yeah, since Sam did win in top 4, it means that I managed to claim the other spot for an automatic invite to Rome, which felt pretty good after a very draining end to the season where I wasn't getting many favourable results.
You also denied Goblin Slayer getting its first UK top.
Yeah, I also managed to beat Sam in the finals, which incidentally meant I actually overtook Ewan to get first in the UK, which is a complete accident and it's quite funny. And also because we were pushed that far, I had to overtake Brian in second place rather than get the pass down invite that I was originally aiming for. Which means that top 16 slot is effectively wasted since Brian can't come, unfortunately, and that doesn't pass down at all.
Yep.
So I think we're on a 14-man top 16.
I think so.
That's about what we're looking for, yeah.
Which will be great because it means someone will go 3-1 and come 5th and not make top cut.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't
Can't
wait
wait to be that person.
Effectively, whoever loses round 1 should just be very scared.
Not very scared, but it's still possible because didn't that happen to you once, Brandon, and you still made top cut?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember where that was now, but
That was at Geek Retreat Birmingham, if I remember right.
I think it was the end of last season, right? Where I was convinced I was not going to make top cut, and last season was over, and then I ended up making in at 8th place very barely.
Or wasn't that? I thought that was a cut to top 4 again. It was a 3-1.
Or top 4 rather. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you pushed me down to 5th in that tournament.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
I distinctly remember losing all hope and then suddenly regaining it all very quickly.
Yeah.
And then it didn't even matter. So yeah, that's all we'll talk about the end of season ladder. Since I guess the biggest reason for this podcast would be to build up to this weekend, which is gonna be the top 16 tournament itself and our last chance qualifier. So you guys all excited?
I went from being very confident to very nervous.
I went from confident to changing deck.
I went to confident to
also changing deck.
Yeah, I've noticed a split from the outside of like talking to people, but there's some people that are like completely convinced that they were going to use one thing, and that was like a significant majority of the people playing, where everyone basically already knew each other's deck, just from looking at like results and everything. But then people have like started metagaming themselves, or those that are using the metagame and started realizing they're being metagamed. Now everyone's kind of bricking it. It's either that or they just were never taking it too seriously in the first place.
I think a lot of us know what everyone's going to be playing, or at least the majority.
Into either of those categories, though, like I haven't changed deck because I'm at this point just fully aware that everyone knows what I'm playing. I just feel that changing it is not going to help anything with that. So,
And what we could do is we could run through everyone in the top 16 quickly and see what we think they're playing.
We've been doing that like 3
I was about
already.
to
last
say.
half an hour. Yeah, I mean,
We've
sure,
just
let's do it
done
again
it.
anyway. Let's do it on the record.
I like this. We get to have like an audio representation of what everyone's predictions are and see how wrong they are.
Yep.
Especially given that you know everything and the rest of us are all actually in the top 16.
All right. So shall I read down the players that are actually there and then have you guys all just like say a series at the same time or something?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
We glossing over ourselves.
I was about to say, I'll just say my series out loud and be like, lol.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if your name is mentioned, you can be completely blank about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we know Brian can't come, so we're gonna start with Matt Mead.
Yeah.
Goblin Slayer.
I'm thinking ReZero.
Oh, look at that spicy prediction over there.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be on Goblin Slayer, but I wouldn't be surprised to see ReZero.
I think if he bricks out of Goblin Slayer at the last second, he's probably more likely to play Little Busters, I think.
I don't know. He did really well with ReZero in Cologne.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
The problem is that I think Little Busters is too much of that. I don't know. It's kind of like it's like a step down from Miku, if that makes sense. Like if he's gonna play Little Busters, he might as well play Rewrite or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I get what you mean.
All right, moving on. We've got Lee next.
Symphogear IMO.
Symphogear. Although I know that you don't play Billion Maiden, which is the build I'm used to playing against, and I know you have the new stuff, so I don't know yet. But I'm sure it's some form of Symphogear because I know that you are no longer playing Idolmaster, and that's all I know.
Did Sam say anything? I didn't hear anything.
I didn't hear anything from Sam.
I said Symphogear.
Okay.
All Symphogear predictions there. Okay. Next one.
I feel like this is coming out after the actual top 16, right?
This is actually going out tomorrow.
Right. Okay. Because I was about to say, at this point, you might as well just come out and we might as well the four of us should be like, yes, this is actually between us.
I don't mind. I don't mind.
Yeah, I will.
now I've dropped Diamass because basically I've had a month of terrible shot tournaments with it, and it's like, while I still think the deck's good, I've just kind of lost confidence with it for now. So I am going with Symphogear.
Yeah, because I heard you switched to I1, right?
I want standby. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I have a lot of faith in that, actually. I still do.
So yeah, now I'm playing good old new Symphogear.
Yeah. Well, new is still just standby, right?
Yeah, but the top end's different and the level one's different. But
It's not the Chris, right? Not the -1 soul.
no, that's not there anymore.
He's giving away all his game plans, guys.
I mean, it's not hard. New Symphogear is pretty easy to like find out what it does.
Yeah.
Just gotta pay attention to which fucking Tsubasa you're playing.
All right, next one, Peter.
Red
Red
Boyo,
Boyo.
without a doubt.
You flipped a coin, and he ain't gonna back down from that.
He's been very public about that choice, so I guess we don't need to talk about that much.
I mean, the thing is, right, you say it like, oh yeah, we know what he's playing. So you kind of like almost psychologically like want to be less worried. But
This is where he like double dupes us.
Yeah.
He's like, lol, I'm back to Sword Art.
No, not even that. It's like he just sits down, plays 3 red Puyos, slams a climax, and just shows you soul icons off the top of his deck, and you're like, oh.
Oh.
Unless you cancel very effectively in your poor first deck.
Yeah, if.
I mean, the way I'm going recently, I'm 4 climaxes out turn 1. That won't end well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, won't end well at all.
Give me some of that energy for Saturday, please.
Alright, next one down, James Leatherland.
GGO.
GGO.
Pretty, I would say GGO.
I don't think I've actually seen him play anything else.
I've seen him play other things, but I definitely would say GGO.
He's definitely been on that GGO practice grind building up for this, because he's been very undecided about what build he wants to use, but I think he's definitely settled on one now.
The top end is what? It's 8 gate, right?
Yes.
And the level
I would presume.
It's either 8 gate or treasure gate.
Right. I keep forgetting what the level 3 does. It's like burn 1, salvage 1 or something?
It's burn 1 on swing.
Yeah, it's a mill 3 on play, gives -2k, -4k, burn 1, and on characters, and then it's just on attack, burn 1.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's just on attack burn 1, but then it maybe also burns an extra 1 on play.
I mean, it's still okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I think he's playing that more to like kill big targets with the minus power.
Makes sense.
The next 3 down are people in this call. So next one is Ben.
Bang Dream.
Bang Dream.
That is correct.
I'm just interested to see which type.
I think it's pretty obvious which type.
I'm assuming stars Yukina.
Yukina's there.
Okay, not stars, but I suppose Yukina's the thing I'm personally want to know.
Yeah, it's the thing to be afraid of, right?
Yeah.
Watching you play solitaires, whatever, but you see Yukina come out and you're like,
Following that, Kabaine.
Jojo.
Yeah, man, I'm so hyped.
Man, I was so ready for the Bang Dream.
Yeah, okay, so
I was just gonna drop a memory kit counter and be like, yo.
Okay, so I can actually like talk about this. Originally, I was going to be playing Ayalisa, like without a doubt. I was like full on, like, okay, my brain is at that mode. I'm gonna do it. And then we were in Cologne, and Brandon just turned around and went, "Oh yeah, you do know JoJo is allowed to the top 16." And my mind just went, "What?"
He just didn't know that he could use JoJo in the top 16. He thought it was restricted like it was on Sunday.
To be fair, a lot of us probably thought that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've pretty much just like dropped that Ayalisa train. Just went, "Fuck it, let's go for the memes."
The problem is that I actually still don't know what JoJo actually does.
I would explain a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you can tell me later.
Yeah, well, I'm going to talk a bit about JoJo later, so you can
get
Kabaine's opinions on that as well.
I was going to say, I've done a lot of play testing on a lot of different builds at the moment.
All right, next one is Sam.
Goblin
Slayer.
ReZero.
Honestly, I don't fucking know at this point.
All right. Interesting that we're halfway through. every single one's been unanimous except for Goblin Slayer players maybe becoming ReZero players instead.
That's a good point.
It's like I've been sort of looking at people's choices, getting closer to this top 16, and I'm just looking at that and just going, I just lose.
Hey Sam, do you remember that casual we had where I memory kicked all 4 priestesses?
He mentioned about that.
I had 7 memory that game.
I think going on to the bottom half of these players, the guesses might be a bit more wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or a bit more straightforward, depending on who we get.
Yeah. Well, next up is Gemma.
Summer Pockets.
I think that's probably the most straightforward one here, I'd say.
She's playing gate top end, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like I keep getting worried because I keep seeing people play like the standby top end. I was like,
She was playing the standby top end, but then with the potential of Priestess being about, that deck just rips into the standby build because the standby build can't reverse Priestess.
Yeah, exactly.
So we basically, after discussing it, we swapped it back to gate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, that's fine. Like the deck, I think the wind gate deck it's very basic, very simple, but it is very effective. So I think it's
there's a reason that 2-1 basically gets nerfed every time it's printed.
Unless it's Love Life Sunshine.
Unless it's Sunshine, in that case they just go, yo, more power.
And speaking of Sunshine.
Speaking of Sunshine, next on the list is Emily.
OG Love Life.
OG, yeah.
I'm thinking OG.
I'm 50-50, but I think it's probably going to be on Sunshine still.
Based off what I've seen at Chimera over the last couple of weeks, I think she's probably going to settle with OG.
Yeah, if she is deciding to go Sunshine, it doesn't seem like she's had much practice with it.
Emily's a bit more of a wild card because she's a lot more comfortable with a lot more decks, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Personally, I think she's probably going to show up with the Nico Treasure, Ellie Mackie top end deck thing.
It's pretty good deck.
I actually haven't seen what the new Love Light does, so I'll need to look that up. I assume it's very similar to the deck before, with just a few added utility, right? Like the combos and the climax and the finishes are the same.
No, they're both new.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
the deck's almost entirely changed to new cards, interestingly.
Great, I'll have to look that
up. Next on the list is James Thompson.
Best shot.
He's the biggest wild card, to be honest.
He really is. Like, looking at what he's played this year, he's played almost a different deck every single tournament he's been to. He's copied like Bang Dream once. He's copied ReZero once. And he's copied Summer Pockets once.
I was gonna say I don't think every single time I've seen him play, I don't think I've ever seen him play the same deck.
I don't know. I think my gut is thinking ReZero.
I honestly don't have a clue. It could be anything.
It could be anything, but I don't know. I feel like it depends if he's like prepping for people or not.
Because of like how sporadically he's kind of shown up this year as well. He's always playing something different. It's really hard to pin down what he could play for this.
Yeah. Like it depends if he's just picking whatever he fancies or if he's like trying to pick to go against people.
Like
I think if he just picks what he wants to play, I'm thinking Nisakoi.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, but that like to an extent you have to admit that playing Nisakoi is just throwing away the tournament.
I mean, sure.
I mean, if he's happy with that, it's fine. Like, I'm just.
I think Luke would say otherwise.
Luke would definitely say otherwise.
Like looking at his scores, I think it's probably between Summer Pockets or Bang Dream. I don't know though, like, because a lot of the decks he has ReZero as well, which is a really strong deck. He's got Rabbits, which is a strong deck.
He doesn't have actual Rabbit decks though.
Yeah, his Rabbits deck.
Right,
his Rabbit deck is best shot.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Never mind then.
Moving on. Catherine.
Card Captor Sakura for EN.
Yeah, JP Card Captor. Not JP. EN card cap. So
Okay, I was going to
that's the
say,
one.
there's a split on EN and JP there.
Yeah.
I think probably. I think she'll probably go with the end for top 16. In fact, she could play it in both, couldn't she? Because of the whole weird ruling thing.
That is correct.
As far as I'm aware, she hasn't finished off her JP collection, so I think EM would be the better shout.
I'm not sure if she actually plans on doing so, honestly. Or well, anytime soon at least.
I mean, that's fair.
Pretty much like ever since Card Captors came out, she's pretty much dropped Vivid Strike for that. So I would be very surprised if she brought Vivid Strike back for that tournament.
I guess it's worth noting that although the big middle portion of the year she's been using Card Captor since it's been released, the past few tournaments of the season she actually changed up a bit and used different decks.
I mean, she had one tournament with Vivid Strike towards the end and one tournament with Hina Logic. But that was a small tournament.
And then JP Sakura as well, which is of course different.
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah,
but that was
just
probably
trying out
just
the new
because the
stuff.
set was that was probably just because the set was new.
So only a few more to go. Lauren,
Darling.
Franks.
I think it's pretty well known at this point that Lauren just plays Franks more than anything else, right?
Yep.
I think her build is well known as well. It's not a normal build, but I think it is still worth respecting.
Well, I'm led to believe that she's played like almost every combination of Franks decks this year.
That probably sounds feasible, yeah.
I've been told that Ethan's not going, sadly.
Right.
So next up,
So we don't have to worry about him.
so we've got Richard Mead.
This is like
Mono friends.
between two, but like
No.
Well, I mean, here's
You
the
know
thing,
what? I'm thinking Kantai.
Does he have access to the new stuff?
That's the question.
I know he has the EN deck.
right?
That's not the new stuff.
Exactly.
If
So,
he has access to the new stuff, I'm thinking Kantai.
Last time I spoke to him, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, he wasn't sure. But because he wasn't sure, that's why I think he might just end up falling back to Kimono Friends, if nothing's changed since then.
Oh, tried and true.
I know for a fact that he's not playing Kimono.
Okay. So he has changed his mind since the last time I spoke to him then.
Yeah. The question is, I don't know what his new choice is.
Yeah, I mean, his only like sets he's used this year have been Kimono Friends, IMAS, and one Kantai at the start of the year. I don't actually know what other sets he owns, but I think if he has access to the new stuff, I think he'll.
At the same time, there is also the risk that he might just like default back to the the comfort pick of Kimono. So like, I wouldn't like. I've been told that he's not playing Kimono, but I would still not rule it out.
Richard, even though he said he's not, I think it's probably still possible.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey, last one on the list, Brandon Cooper.
Nelson Touch.
Kantai.
Oh, another unanimous one. No abyssal predictions.
no.
Now that he's got Nelson Touch finished, he's been preferring that over Abyssals lately.
I mean, it's the better deck.
This is where he just suddenly goes, lol, it's still Abyssals, slam down 2 souls, slam down 3 guys, sorry guys, let's go.
I mean, just because he's playing a new deck doesn't stop him slamming 3 guys in the climax turn 1.
Oh yeah.
Turn 1, you
burn
mean
out
turn
a bit
2,
quicker.
my dude.
Arguably, that's kind of what the mono blue Kantai wants to do. Because you want to just like make guys to crash with. That way you get free farm on Zeho.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be nice. Okay.
Yeah, that covers everyone in Saturday's tournament. I guess spicy thing I could do is say to each of you, if you had to predict 2 people to make the finals that aren't yourselves, who would you go for?
God damn it.
It's actually quite tough this year.
Yeah.
The quality is getting higher and higher.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay. I am going to say Gemma and Matt Mead.
Seems reasonable.
I am going to say Lee and Matt Mead.
Hmm.
I'm gonna go for a wild card. Let's say Peter and Lee.
Some high rolls happening there.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm thinking probably Lee and Gemma.
Hmm.
Mainly because in my head I'm working off the assumption that I think Matt Mead's going to use ReZero.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
No.
Is this the great fall of Goblin Slayer?
The great fall of Goblin Slayer.
Everyone, like a bunch of people prepping for Goblin Slayer. Goblin Slayer just doesn't turn up to the tournament.
I mean, if we touch on it just quickly, it's like Priestess has been doing pretty damn well in the UK, and the reason for that is because people haven't been building their decks to deal with Priestess. And over the last month or so, we've all been modding our decks to deal with Priestess. It's kind of like the way it's been going.
Yeah, I think that's what's good about like the combo is the fact that it is counterable, but you kind of have to tailor your deck with that deck in mind.
This is the kind of deck that I would describe as meta defining.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's meta defining in an unhealthy way. It's forcing people to be a bit more mindful about their deck choices.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the effect of Attack on Titan towards English, which I didn't really mind at all. It felt like you'd be rewarded for deck building, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, but I don't feel like there was as many easy ways to deck build against AOT in English.
At the time, probably not, but nowadays, as we're getting more and more English sets, it's definitely possible now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, all respect to Peter, I think there'll be a very significant amount of salty players in the room if he actually ends up making the finals.
Oh, the thing is, though, he won't be able to make the finals unless I make the finals, because it's the only time we've been in finals, right?
This is true.
Oh, if you do make finals, that won't matter at that point, since you'll have both been invited anyway.
Nah, it's the law. You'll both meet in top 4.
Yeah, it'll be important games rather than just finals, right?
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah, but that's the. Oh yeah, true.
I guess the only other thing I want to note is that we're actually going to be attempting to at least record, hopefully stream all the games from both tournaments this weekend.
Ooh, that's
all the games. Whoa.
All the games, all the rounds.
Feature match games.
Every single game is a feature game. Whoops.
I think if you could get it set up for top 16, I think that would be really good this year. Because I mean, like we said, I'm pretty sure the quality in the UK has jumped up again this year.
Yeah, and I think like another nice thing as well is that one thing that we've all mentioned as we've been going through the players is the variety of decks. So we get to see so many different kind of play styles and different things happening.
Oh yeah, this year's been a surprisingly good year in terms of like set releases that are actually useful.
Yeah, like there's a lot of sets that can just do well at the moment.
That's kind of like how Weiss typically is anyway. But
it is, but like I don't know, it's weird because you think about what the quote unquote tier list would look like right now. I don't think anyone in top 16 is playing what I would consider like the best decks in the game.
I'm curious to find out exactly what you think the best decks in the game are.
At this current exact moment in time, I think
like if you put like the top 3, let's just say that.
At this exact moment in time, I think my top 3 would be in no particular order: Konosuba, Milky Holmes, and what was the last one? Fuck, Idolmaster. Still
Idolmaster.
Million Live or OG?
OG.
That's a real spicy top 3.
That's a hot take right there.
I think Million Live is fighting for the 3rd spot. I
think Million Live is actually such a good set.
It's an amazing set. Like it's definitely A+. Like it's up there with like AOT, Sword Art, and Goblin Slayer. Like all of these A+ decks. It's just that when I look at decks like Million Live or Goblin Slayer, like I just feel that they are still like critically flawed in some way.
Yeah, that's fair.
I know maybe Sword Art is probably not critically flawed. I just don't know if I ever want to put Sword Art in S tier just for personal reasons.
Personal reasons.
Anyway, that's a discussion for another time. We can be here all night talking about that.
Yeah, like I think, like I agree though. Like what I would consider to be like A or A plus is very very wide, and I think almost all of them are represented in some way.
That's a fair statement.
Yeah, I think I think the has been incredibly healthy for quite a while now. Most of the sets this year have added to the meta in a good way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, I can agree with that.
It's actually pretty interesting because I think last year you could use an example where a lot of the boosters being released are just kind of meh and didn't really offer anything to the meta decks from the previous year.
Yeah.
What even wasn't like meta defining in the previous year other than Hino Logic?
I wouldn't be able to tell you.
2017 now, right?
Like Konosuba, I can see. I think like Bang Dream, Miku, and Konosuba and Hino Logic, and that's it, right?
Let's talk about 2017. You say Love Live Sunshine, even though that kind of been and gone now.
2017 gives you like Sword Art, Titan, and Kimono, I guess.
2017 was also like ReZero, Rewrite.
Was Rewrite 2017? Yes, it was. Yeah.
Did you mention AOT?
Yeah, I did.
But you like compare that to like the 2018, with the exception of like the start of the year where you actually got like the second Logic booster and Konosuba and stuff like that. And like Rabbit, it really wasn't that impressive since then. I think like stuff like Apocrypha and No Game No Life.
Yeah.
And like Steins Gate.
Was it Steins Gate this year?
I think Steins Gate was last year.
Yeah, Steins Gate was last year.
Okay. I was getting confused because I'm seeing it after Summer Pockets, and I just keep thinking Summer Pockets was this year.
Yeah, I guess an exception in the middle of the year would be like Summer Pockets.
Yeah.
But then, going into this year, it's been like Million Live, the Bunko decks, Albuta,
Goblin Slayer.
Even
like Heaven's Feel had a good release.
Heaven's Feel is still really good.
I think Nanohar's worth noting as well.
Yeah, Nanohar as well.
I've actually never seen Heaven's Feel be played.
It's not exciting. It's just a consistent deck. It's just bars. It's exactly what you think pretty much should be, just better.
Okay.
And like stuff like the Love Life boosters as well were both pretty high quality.
Yeah, like we have like a large variety of decks that you can take to a tournament and expect to do well with now, which is a good place to be in.
Exactly.
Yeah, it should be a good weekend anyway. I want to move on quickly to the Cologne BCS, which from the school myself and Kabaine went to.
Yo!
Now, for myself, it was kind of a disaster trip. Outside of the tournament as well. I was left to like plan a lot of the flights and hotels and stuff myself. I had to deal with things like the hotel overbooking us and then moving us to an adjacent city.
And then Flybe.
And then a certain airline charging us money on our way there for our luggage for basically no reason. And like the weather wasn't amazing especially when our new hotel was like a half-hour walk from the station instead of a 10-minute walk from the station.
Yeah, it's more exercise than I get on a daily basis.
And for the second official tournament in a row, I've done better in Vanguard than I did in Weiss, so that kind of sums up my event.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah.
What deck did you play?
Played Love Live Sunshine.
Okay.
Yeah. I basically I was under some impression for some reason that Dutch players had gone off of SAO and were on Konosuba. But I played 3 Dutch players in the 5 rounds that I played before I dropped, and I played against 3 SAOs.
And 0 Konosuba?
And 0 Konosuba. So round 1 was against the guy I actually beat in the finals of Lisbon last year, which is kind of funny. And I managed to beat him. round 2, I lost to Jimmy. And despite him not using Yuki, he was still like cancelling very, very well. I think Peter was watching that game and he found it like unbelievable. I had about 13 instances across three turns, and only 2 damage stuck.
Oh my god!
There's just nothing I could do in that case. And then I played against like actual Yuki Sinon, and when Yuki's enough times first deck, and then refreshes all 6 cards and it's clock clean and stuff like that, I literally just cannot break through the deck. It's like the matchup I'm most terrified of, and yeah, I just naturally lost to that. That was actually like the last round before I dropped. In between that, I like managed to beat a card captor Sakura, and I lost to a Love Life Sunshine Mirror, which is like actually almost an exact mirror. It's like 2 or 3 cards off of my deck. And the difference in the game was my opponent managed to early play his Yos, and all 4 of my Yos were in the bottom 10 cards of my deck. So sometimes it'd be like that. Kabaine, on the other hand, in his first BCS for Wise.
Oh god, where do I begin? So, spoiler alert, I came 4th. What? Okay. So, round 1 ended up going against round 1 and 2, I ended up going against 2 different Fate decks, even though obviously one of them was a different Fate series.
Yeah, I think you played against Fate in round 1 and then Prisma Ilya in round 2.
Yeah, I played again.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. I've never seen it before, and it was quite funky.
And you were playing Konosuba, right?
I
can't remember if you actually said that or not.
Yes. Oh yeah, you played Konosuba.
One thing that like did happen the night before is I was looking through the list, and I was thinking, do I change Gate to Stock Soul? Am I that greedy? And I think I'm not gonna lie, it worked. So I'll take that.
Yeah, you're the change in the Stock Soul.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Which
it was originally going to play
8 Gate,
Blank Gate as the second climax, similarly to how Nando won Worlds.
All right.
They
And
used
then-
to go, I want consistency picking up my early play pieces, and I want to ignore the level 3 combo.
Yeah, and then at the end of it, I just like the night before, I actually went, no, I'm switching, and guess it proved some results. Like, there's a lot of things that I learned throughout that tournament as well. Is how much I value the stock swap a lot more than I expected. How much I really like the Mega Min top end, like the bit to kill off your opponent. Like, that actually won me quite a few games. The stock swap, I think, the dirtiest stock swap I've had was against Cohen, where I kept like the stock swap in from like my second turn in my hand, because I was thinking I'm going to use this at some point and I'm going to keep hold of it. And then he front attacked and he hit nothing, so he was like on 8 stock swapped him, and in the last 8 cards of his deck I hit 4 climaxes, forcing him to refresh as well. So I was like, okay, and then killed him on the turn after because of Mega Min. I think I double Mega Min and the double Mega Min. I think I did the 3-5 Mega Min or something like that. Or like, no, it was Mega Min, something else, the 3-5, and stuck on the burn 5.
You mean the burn 5? Yeah.
The burn 5, and I stuck on the 5. That was the game.
I mean, that's the thing with stock swapping it. The most effective time to use it is when you force the refresh with it, because you know how many climaxes you put in over there,
and you know how many are going back, obviously.
Yeah.
So, which is nice. I
remember after that game hearing Cohen mutter repeatedly, "Oh, should have respected the stock swap."
So that happened. Ended up going against Marco, I think his name was.
Yeah.
In the round after.
I won't bother trying to pronounce Marco's surname, but one of the Slovenian Marcos.
Yeah. Wait, there's more than one.
Ended up killing him with double Mega Min and the burn 5, even though I didn't even have the stock to do the burn 5. I just killed him because of the first burn 4 was enough for the double clock kick to kill him anyway. So
that's my favorite part about Mega Min. Is like if you can get multiples of them down, Or especially if you get the triple Mega Man, it's like I just need to stick one of these burn 4s and I'll win if your opponent's already level 3.
I actually only ran 2
Oh really?
because I only own 2. So I just went, yeah, let's do it. I'm gonna get a third one sometime
As
in
a
the future.
side note, I've actually got an English Mega Man in the bottom of one of my storage boxes. I should try and find it out for you at some point because I'm never going to use it.
Yeah, sure. We'll work out a deal.
For, Lee?
Is it like I'm assuming it's probably like a $20-$30 card,
No,
right?
like 50.
What?
Yeah, they shot. They're really expensive.
Wow. Okay.
You know, decent friend benefits. I don't mind going down to 20 for you, but
I mean, it's just a card that's lying in a storage box, though.
Checking it quickly. JKTC says it's 45 US.
Dear God.
Jesus. Yeah, we'll work something out. And then
Quickly check those.
going into top 8, I went against this guy. I don't know his name, but he was playing ReZero, and he wasn't playing the same. He was playing the Amelia, like the same thing as like Matt was at the time. But I know he was running something different to Matt at the top end.
He was actually using the RAM level 3 combo.
Okay.
Set 1 or set 2?
Set 1.
One of the shield.
Such a.
So he went full Japanese then, basically.
Yeah. That was interesting. I won that game. Really nice guy, by the way. Just gonna say that. And then ended up going against Ian and bricked pretty hard. So, ayo.
Yeah. Ian Zhang ended up winning the tournament with Attack on Titan.
Yeah. So went against Ian, lost against Ian, and then I ended up going against Matt Mead in my last game, and I'm not gonna lie, it's probably one of the funnest games I've ever had in competitive wise, quote unquote. Like
competitive wise, quote unquote.
Well,
It is English after all.
so, yeah, true. Like that game was very. We actually, while we did play obviously competitively against each other, we also played like as friends. We didn't play it. We obviously knew there was a Worlds invite on the line and everything, but we just played it as friends and we respected like one another after the tournament about it and everything. So, because I enjoy the game, he enjoys the game. Why not have fun?
Yeah, I was originally hoping to have Matt on this podcast, but he's been too busy, sadly. Yeah, Matt ended up doing silly well
with Ed's deck.
Yeah, he borrowed our friend Ed's deck.
Yeah,
it was a very eventful week for Ed because he'd started off like with a pretty trashy ReZero deck. He went from that to like Maids. It's slowly improving it. He turned up at our weekday locals before we left for BCS with his now meta ReZero deck. He's like, oh hey guys, look, I've got this Amelia Betty deck now. Like, can I borrow it?
I mean, he got him third place, so fair play to both of them.
Yeah. Matt also took some names. I remember Matt in Swiss beating Nando, and then coming to me afterwards saying, "I recognise that guy. Was he from again?" I was like, "Oh yeah, it's a world champion." He's like, "Oh, okay, cool."
That's a very Matt Mead thing to do, isn't it?
Aww.
It's quite funny.
So what else happened during that? There was a few things, but I think like the most enjoyable part of it was definitely like the time just spending with friends playing games. That's basically it, really.
Yeah, that was definitely the only good part of the a whole weekend for me. Everything around it was completely horrible.
So
Yeah.
What did I miss?
apart from that, we obviously did Vanguard as well, and I've come to the conclusion that deck testing's a lie, right?
It's fine. This isn't a Vanguard podcast, Kabaine.
Yeah, quote unquote, practices 2 games of the one deck that I'm playing for the tournament tomorrow. Ends up going 5-3.
You get your Vanguard sort out of my wife's podcast.
I feel like I've always said before, and I continue to say that Vanguard is kind of irrelevant.
And on that note, should we carry on?
I guess I'll talk about some of the other notable decks that did well in Cologne. Well, the 2 finalists, Ian
about-
obviously won.
The
with
other
it-
guy was really funky.
yeah. It's the guy lost in the finals. I guess start with him since you brought him up. He was using this Bang Dream list, which reminded me of a list I think like topped in Hawaii last year or something. But it's basically a standby deck that also ran the Guitar Tie package, and he used the 2-1 tie that farms markers when it reverses things. People don't know how to deal with that. They just get farmed on so quickly, and it's unreal. And I think the guy like managed to take that element of surprise throughout the whole day and take it all the way to the finals.
I was trying to think how you actually deal with that.
Yeah,
In like
English.
what people play in English.
I mean, just play Titans and dodge it, right?
I mean that
Throw it back.
definitely helps in Ian's case. But I think you can like purposely crash your board a bit more before they get the chance to have the 2-1 out and stuff like that. Or just make sure you have decent enough columns to get rid of it. Because the thing is, they tend to have the Remy Global out, right? And I think sometimes it's okay to actually pass up on some attacks if you're gonna definitely reverse it with 1 or 2 lanes, rather than just go, oh, I'll just play the 0 for an attack and then watch their 2-1 tie take them into an unlosable game state.
It's an interesting choice, though. I mean,
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah, I don't even know if the guy had like any damage output at level 3. I just saw any game that he was playing, he just won on level 2, basically.
One thing that I will say though, like going to Ian this time over, there was one interesting tech that was in our games, and it was the 0-0 green Levi.
This is the actual interesting part of Ian's Attack on Titan deck, which is otherwise pretty cookie cutter.
Yeah, it's like doesn't gain 7-5 or something when attacking level 3s or on battle with level 3s?
It's just when it's across from a level 3 it gains 7-5.
No, it's in battle, I'm pretty certain.
I thought it was just when it's across from a level 3.
So it's like Dragon Slayer Natsu. I'm pretty sure there's a Natsu who does that.
Natsu.
So it becomes what, 9k?
It becomes 10k.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah. It's funny because when I was using AT, my solution to like the level 2 problem was always just like, oh, I'll throw in all this investment to make to change into the Mikasa healer. And he's just like, yeah, I'll just play the 0-0-10k.
I like it.
When you think about it, it kind of works against like the popular English early plays because you got Konosuba, which has like no power on defense. Especially if like you can get out of counter range by having like the Aaron Global out as well to make it like 11k or Climax or something. You have ReZero, which you look at Felt and Rem, they're easy enough to beat if you've got the pumps out as well.
Yeah. Because you need to get to like what? You need to get to 12 to be out of the counter range of the Rem. Assuming it's only got 1 marker.
I mean, 1 marker puts it to 10-5.
10-5.
And even if you say you got Aaron Global plus Climax, Aaron Global plus 1k1, because you could also have split 2k1 as an option.
Yeah.
Then you just need to tap the Aaron Global and give it 500 to trade with the counter.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're still threatening a level 3 with a level 0.
Yeah, which is pretty good on resources, right?
Especially when you're doing it at level 2. So
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it's easy enough to access because you're playing Titan and you can search your deck like every turn for no cost.
It's a fun metagame choice. I'll give him that.
Man,
it definitely paid off with him.
Don't you just love it when like one of the best decks in the game just has good answers to the other decks in the game, of already being very good.
I just find it funny that the answer to the level 2 problem in AOT ended up just being some common level 0 from the first set.
Is it from first set? Wow.
I think it's from first set, yeah.
I can't believe we glossed over it.
Yeah. I mean, you typically don't look at level 0s when you're looking for a level 2 game answer.
And you especially wouldn't look at green as well.
Yeah.
If you're only glossing through at least.
Last point. Since Matt did get 3rd place, he actually has a Worlds invite. So
is he going to take it if he doesn't get one for the Japanese?
I'm pretty sure he is. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain as well.
Will they wait that long though?
Well, he accepts it regardless because it doesn't pass down anyway.
And because it's not.
If only it could pass down.
it's not sponsored either, so accepting doesn't do anything. You just
Yeah.
not show up.
Yeah. If only it could be passed down.
Yeah, it's definitely better value to accept an English invite anyway, because you get an actual value promo for entering English worlds, and you get nothing for JP. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's good. That's good for him. I think he's the first UK player to qualify for 2 BCS worlds now, or 2 English worlds. I guess.
Yeah, because we've had you go for English and Japanese,
Mm.
and then we've had me go for English once. Did Matt? Yeah, and then Matt went the same. When did Matt go the first time?
Matt went with me last year as well.
Yeah. Okay. So then Matt's. Yeah. At least
Yeah,
we've
you won all
consistently
last year,
seemed to
yeah.
get one person to either worlds.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's been every year in a row. Yeah, because your first Japanese world was 2016. I went to English 2017,
And we went
then
to
you were Matt
2018.
English 2018, and then
Matt this year.
yeah,
Yeah.
go UK.
UK.
We're getting there.
So yeah, I think that's pretty much what we can talk about BCS now. I mean, myself, Kabaine, and Ewan are looking into going to France BCS, which is like in about a week and a half. Hopefully, we'll do well there. And then it's only about a month until London, so we'll be able to talk about that more in depth in the next podcast, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And rest in peace, London. I'm not going to be able to make that one. Not unless I want to play for Vanguard. But probably not.
Like I said earlier, this is not a Vanguard podcast.
Indeed, I will leave it. I will leave it at that.
All right. So, moving on from tournaments now, we've got some cards to talk about. Since we're a couple months out of date with this now, JoJo was released. Kabaine bought a lot of JoJo.
I bought 10 boxes. Okay. So, where do I begin? Okay. So there's multiple builds that you can try out with JoJo. I have definitely tried Okay, so originally my plans for JoJo was 8 wind with the Fugo into GER, which is basically what the Million Live level 1 for the red stock soul does, where you mill 2, salvage X is equal to level, and then you go into a burn 1 2 times on encore step for pay 3, with a on play drop 1 heal to stock when it's played from hand or played from a stand user effect of the Giorno. But
you don't have to worry about this.
You don't worry about the Giorno. Like, there's only one good stand user in this set, and that is the Butcherachi for level 0.
I'd argue the Fugo is pretty good as well.
And then the other builds I've tried Standby. I'm not that big of a fan of it. I think it's a bit more high rolly than it needs to be, especially with the Diavolo. I think the other build, which Japan has been showing a lot of success with, and I really like as well, is the Bar Gate, where you go Pesci, Prosciutto, and you also use the gate to try and get yourself the resources that you need, but you also include cards like King Crimson, which can just skip your opponent's first front attack against it, which is interesting.
It's like the supercharged Ragnarok Breaker.
Yeah.
Pay 4, drop 3 characters when the opponent declares a front attack to skip the attack.
You skip everything that isn't the when attack do effect. So you also skip trigger effect and everything else like that, which is really spicy. Also has a heal on play, so the deck's a bit more focused on survivability. You generate a bunch of stock, and you also get some pretty high beat sticks with the Pesci, who can become an 8/5, and a Prosciutto, which one of your copies can become. I think it's like 7/5, or no, it can become 9/5 at one point. So it makes good numbers. It has a lot of stock gen. It's not bad. I really like the deck. So
it's quite typical that the most popular JoJo deck in Japan happens to be, let's use a very average level 1 combo. It gets big. We have the same climax for our level 1 and level 3 combo, and we get to run blank gates.
Yep.
Blank gates. Tasty.
That is very much the plan of JoJo for some reason.
Yeah.
But it does. I will say, like, a lot of the stuff in JoJo has a lot of flavor, and I think it's got some really interesting kind of effects compared to other things.
I absolutely love how flavorful that set is.
Yeah, it's nice, and also a lot of the artwork is really pretty, especially the. Just gonna put out here now the SSP Duono that I pulled.
Casual
Nice.
flex.
Casual flex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My personal favorite build's the one that's basically mono yellow, and it's just the one you said at the start. That I want to shout the Mister early play as well. It's just a generic card and clock early play condition. It has cancel burn, but it's also like an 11/5 body.
Yeah, it's I was gonna say, didn't you like not find the Mister level 0 that nice, and then like after playtesting it, you said you actually really liked it?
Yeah, the level 0 for the early play condition is just like a 0/0 on play gains 15. On play, you may put a card from hand in the slot. Which didn't seem very amazing for me, but when you're not discarding anything for your level 3 combo, it can make some pretty spicy plays.
Yeah, potentially lets you do an extra Giorno if you've played it enough.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this set that's like really nice to like play around. The set's really like aesthetically pleasing. Please give me money so I can buy the rest of a JoJo SP deck. Thanks.
Alright, so moving on, I'll quickly mention Review Starlight. I don't want to talk about too many cards. Obviously the set's not out yet, but a couple of notable things that I liked. Again, a good clean cut. We take those.
Yep.
I like this Aru level 3 combo package, which is like...
Is that the Mahiru with the standby?
Nah. Aru is like one of the newer builds. It's like draw 2, drop 2, blind stock on play, on attack with shot and play, pay 3, burn 2. And that's pretty much it. I think it's got some other effect that gives it power. But there's also a 3-7 event. Sorry, 3-0 event.
3-7, oh no.
Yeah, a 3-0 event that says if all your board is new girl trait, whatever it is, give a character +5/5, +5/5, and on cancel deal 1 damage. I think that stacking up ends up making it a pretty competent finisher.
I haven't seen enough in the set to see how it interacts with existing Relive, but I think existing Review is like it's already got a good top end. It just needed a more stable mid game.
Yeah, that's
like right now the best level 1 combo is still the 1/1 on reverse, which you have to standby out. So you're forced into playing standby to get the 1/1 out, and then you're forced into playing gate for the gate combo.
So that's interesting. See, best top end. I was instantly connecting with mono yellow, like 8 wind.
That's also good, but then that's got really bad early as well. Like it has to rely on the level 1 that gains a soul to do anything.
Yeah, that's probably if it feels like kind of a crapshoot because it's just a bunch of clock on cores and soul output at the early game running shimmer cards as well.
Honestly, I think like all Starira really needed was just a little bit better utility.
It just needs that little bit of extra glue at the start of the game, and then
I mean, it got an Adachi, right?
Yes, it has now got an Adachi.
Yeah.
For those who don't know what Adachi is, 1/1 anti-chain slayer. It's pretty good, especially
that looked really interesting.
Especially as standby becomes more and more prominent.
Especially with that, like, because obviously they seem to be wanting to push that a tiny bit as well with like a pretty offensive kind of card like the Mahiru. Isn't it just gives everything kind of a soul and everything like that?
Yeah, I was gonna mention this now since standby is topic. I was talking about 2 more cards. One was this level 3, which combos with a new standby. And the combo is basically just when it's played by the standby, you send the standby to waiting room and stand it, and then all your characters gain a soul.
Oh wow, that's kind of nuts.
Pretty good, yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Like
that's basically what would happen. It's all 1k1.
Pretty much, like they the VAs were opening packs of it on the stream earlier today, and like I think one of them opened that card, and the guy was like, "This is a pretty good card."
It's like the printing cards, like this 1/1 Adachi, 1/1 anti-chain slayer to fix the mistake that standby is becoming. and then immediately in the same set print a nuts standby combo.
There's also that really good counter as well. Like I can't remember exactly what it does, but like I think it's just a 1-0 with upside.
I can't remember this counter at all. Whoops.
They were talking about it on stream as well. Like I'm trying to see if I can find it.
It's the other card I'd talk about is kind of as a bit more, well, not talk about, just mention exists. It's a bit more disappointing in comparison, but still pretty cool. It's like the Cordelia level 3 from Milky Homes.
Oh yeah, that thing.
Remind me of which one's Cordelia.
It's just like the heal and play, on attack, pay 1, ditch 1, Ranko. Mill top 5 of their deck deal.
Oh, that one.
I've
always liked that effect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a nice new tech level 3 I'm a fan of. You found that counter?
It's a good complement to like your actual finish or a bit of a backup in case what you want to do breaks a little bit. It's just nice to have.
Yeah, exactly.
Any luck finding the counter?
No, all I found was just the new level 3s of the OG girls.
Alright. Shall we just
let's
move on for the time being?
Oh no.
Yeah, Sam knows already. Sam's seen what it says in the docket.
I'm not prepared for this.
We went from knowing 0 cards from Memory Snow the other week to having like a quarter of the set revealed at once. Go on, Sam.
Here we
Tell
go.
us what you think.
I can't say I'm not surprised, honestly. Like, I was surprised we got set 2 for ReZero as fast as we did. So I'm not at all surprised that they pulled a rabbits on us with this third set and trait locked everything.
Like, I saw your reaction as I was scrolling through on Germany and went, oh no.
Oh yeah, like I remember when that got posted. I woke up, opened my phone, looked on Facebook, saw the first image of a REM card, and I was like, yes, ReZero spoiler time, here we go. Scroll down a bit and I just see the word Memory Snow, and I'm like, oh no, that's not good. Though, I mean, from what they are working very hard to make sure that nothing that they're going to give it that's like super good is compatible with the old stuff. Like the biggest example we saw was that new REM Brainstorm that has the quote unquote anti standby effect on it. For anyone not knowing what that is, it's if all of your characters are Memory Snow, it gains the ability where if your opponent puts a character from into play during the attack or climax step, all of their front row gains minus X, where X is the cost times 2k. So that can really hurt a lot of standby decks, especially when they're bringing out like level 3s or even 2/2s. That's just a minus 4k to their front row, which is pretty huge.
And I mean,
a card like that would have been lovely in regular ReZero, but
I suppose an example of that being effective as well is in some standby decks, for example, say at level 0, you've got a runner out or something, it stays alive, you hit level 1, you want to standby in your 2/2, and then your runner's just going to die.
Yeah, like 4k is enough that it can actually just kill off some of your cards, so you might even lose attacks off that, so you got to be a bit careful.
Especially like trades.
Yeah, you definitely, it's an effect where if your opponent has that in play and you're playing a standby deck, you have to be very mindful of when you want to standby. But I think Memory Snow is going to end up being decent. The cards that we got are cool, but it's going to definitely going to be a rabbit's case of you basically use the old stuff or the new, and it's going to be very hard to mix them if you even want to mix them.
Have any of the cards that we've seen even can be mixed? I don't think so, right? Because they're all either reliant on the REM or they're all reliant on trait.
Yes.
I think there's been like 1 or 2 cards. I'm pretty sure there's been
the only
one.
card that I think you could use in the old build but would have a bit of dodgy application is the anti-damage REM that we got. Because the effects on it send into memory top 3s for Memory Snow, but I don't recall Memory Snow being required to get damage.
I think it does need it. I think
it
only
does.
was like,
Yeah,
I think it's like at the start whatever turn, if you have if all your characters have memory snow trait, this effect for the rest of the turn.
I'm gonna see if I can find it while we carry on.
No,
Yeah,
I found it. Yeah, it's during the turn that this is sent to memory, or during the start of your turn, until the end of your opponent's next turn, you gain the following effect.
Does it say that it has to be? Does it like require memory snow at all to get that anti-burn 1 effect?
All of your characters have to be memory snow.
It's not even like one character you can splash one in for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's they're. I think they know that ReZero, like OG ReZero, is in a good position that it doesn't really need a new full booster to give it more stuff. We're probably going to get some commons or uncommons that will be splashable, but nothing major.
I mean, you might even be able to splash a couple of old cards into the memory snow deck, a bit like you do with DMS and the anti-change counter.
I think the Ram Slayers are to be teched in.
Yeah, because they don't stay on the board.
They're very easy to get rid of themselves.
You'd probably play like Reinhardt counters as well, I guess.
Probably, yeah. I imagine we're going to get a new. I imagine we'll get a new 2K counter in this set anyway.
Probably.
The one thing I'm a bit curious as to whether or not Bushi are gonna do this is they might think just because they've trait locked everything, they might think it's safe to print standby. If they print standby,
if they trance is kind of risky.
That is true.
It's a pretty good trance as well.
I don't think it will happen, but it could happen.
I don't think it will.
I think the Rose Wall is too good.
Yeah.
You've seen what that card does, right?
Yeah.
I think it'll be an interesting deck to build. I was just a little sad that I pre-ordered before knowing it was doing a DMS on me, basically.
Yeah. On the bright side, this means I can save more money for Grand Order, so
yeah,
I call this an absolute win.
Because I mean, it turned out in the end that a year ago I actually preferred playing DMS to normal rabbits anyway, and then a year later, it seemed like a lot of other people have decided that they like DMS as well. So
especially since it's on the choose list, makes it a little bit more appealing to just play the other stuff where you're free to run that counter without having to worry about using Chino Cocoa.
I mean, the solution then was just to play green yellow rabbits, right?
It's funny guy.
Yeah, I wouldn't use solution as a word for that. Maybe more like compromise.
I mean, I don't think I've ever seen the event like actually work yet. So I think that says a lot.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what it'll end up being like. I'll probably single out a couple, like some of the techable cards in the old stuff.
Honestly, I kind of hope that Memory Snow is really, really good because, like, I still haven't updated ReZero with set 2 cards, so I want Memory Snow to be like outshining original ReZero. That way, I just like update ReZero for low cost. That's the plan.
Interesting take.
I think that about covers it for Memory Snow, though.
Yeah,
pretty
I think
much.
So.
I blurry cards from the commercial today, but they were very blurry. So
there is one thing I found very amusing with those reveals. That anti standby brainstorm we got directly conflicts with the Betty combo also revealed in that. Since the anti standby, it doesn't specifically target standby. It just targets anything that puts things from bin into play during attack or climax step, which hits any kind of combo like railgun, or if people choose to run it, Konosuba, or the new Betty combo that was printed.
Is it any player?
It's any player, so it affects yourself as well.
Oh boy.
Yep.
That is unfortunate.
It is very unfortunate.
Yeah, I guess TLDR, it got Alicization.
Yes.
I prefer rabbits because, I hate Sword Art.
DMS, yeah.
Because you hate Sword Art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just in general. As a franchise, I hate Sword Art.
I can't say I'm too surprised, honestly. And once
Getting-
season 2 for ReZero drops, we'll get more core sets.
Yeah, getting DMS also sounds better. I think because DMS was all the first time that happened, right? Or like
do you count like
split the
Abyssals?
series. No, I don't count that because that's technically different. That's literally different.
I suppose with Abyssals, you kind of knew that it was going to be separate from Kantai.
Yeah.
Is Abyssals actually Neo standard with regular Kantai?
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting.
No, that's relevant because in one specific meme build of Kantai, which revolves around the 2-2 Atago combo, you can play the 0-0 4K Abyssal.
What about Persona 5?
Oh yeah, that is technically gated, isn't it? Well, I think that doesn't count because like you can play like Mono Blue, Met Execution, Velvet Rumi builds.
You're reaching when you say you can play Execution.
I suppose Persona 5 was the start of them, going same franchise trait lock.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Hang on, I will find it.
But Rabbits was definitely the first case of we're probably doing this because we don't want to give the other stuff more support, but we still want to continue this title.
Because I suppose if you think about Persona 5, it came that long after the last P4 set that the cards were going to be that updated that you probably wouldn't need any old stuff anyway, even if it wasn't trait locked.
Yeah, like if they weren't trait locked, there's probably not many things you would run from old Persona.
Technically, Nisekoi Extra Booster was trait locked.
I was just about to say.
Yes, of course. How long ago was that?
That'll be like 2016.
Wow.
Or I think Nisekoi EB was one of the first boosters to come out when I started playing. Actually,
let's see.
Was it like 2015 in that case?
No, I think it was definitely 2016. It was like early 2016.
Oh, wow, it wasn't. It was 2 sets after Girlfriend Beta 2.
Yeah.
And there we are going back a bit. Yuki wasn't even out yet. It's a set after, but
Very overshadowing.
But yeah, these Koi extra packs, August 2015, that lines up with when I started playing.
Oh,
nice.
Right.
Yeah, if we go like full nostalgia mode on that, I can pinpoint a moment where Matt Mead turned up to our locals in Milton Keynes, busted out his same big bag that he uses nowadays. showed everyone all his decks, and I was like, "Oh, Girlfriend Beta, isn't that deck meta?"
I mean, it was back then.
Yeah. I believe 3 of us piloted it at the WGP, and 2 of us made top 8 with it.
I was a rebel, and I was playing yellow, and everyone else was playing blue.
Yep.
We're excited to see on Saturday.
Yeah. The funny thing is, you say about Matt Mead showing up with that big bag with all his decks in. I'm pretty sure he did that at Chimera when he first started coming. Just whips out that thing is full of decks, and we're like, "Ooh, this guy plays Weiss."
It's great. Every single time he delivers USA orders now, he uses that same bag, but this time it's got little packets of cards in it.
Oh, that's cute.
Do you want to talk about slime?
You could talk about I guess we just say what the few decent slime cards are that we know so far.
I was going to say, it's kind of funny because me and Catherine have actually been discussing about this.
I know Catherine's interested in picking up slime for sure.
Yeah, because I know she's getting a case with Charles, isn't she?
Is that confirmed?
Yeah, she said to me.
Excellent.
I am also interested in buying into slime, depending on how good the rest of the set is.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it first before deciding anything because I do like to watch things before I decide. Weirdly,
I think over here.
Wow.
We're getting a bit sidetracked, but in my opinion, I think the anime is weaker than the manga. I don't think that very often.
Yeah, I think a bit about when I'm going into a new set for Weiss, I like to look at the original source material before doing so because obviously a lot of it is based off anime, manga, all that lot.
That's fair. Yeah, that's totally fair.
So it gives me a bit more enjoyability.
Yeah, I mean, from the 4 or 5 cards we've seen, there's already a lot of flavor in there. which is nice.
Yeah. There's one card that I do want to gloss over, and I think it's really interesting, is the 0/0 Slayer, but it's also a stock swap.
Oh, the pay 3, yeah.
The pay 3 stock swap, but it's
We had
also...
that effect before. Like, I think it was in Bunko, wasn't it? We had
Fantasia.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's
The,
just 025 with on play, pay 3, stock flush.
The 8 standby do nothing Negsol deck plays it.
Yeah.
Do nothing,
I mean, isn't do nothing just Fantasia as a whole?
basically.
I think all the red cards are very much overlooked as well. Like the Brainstorm's pretty good because it's the first time we've had the Kaiki effect on an actually good card.
Does it target back row?
Oh, it doesn't target back row. Yeah.
I was sick because Overlord had a similar Brainstorm. It'd be pretty funny if they just print one that actually targets back row.
It's strictly better than Overlord.
I
Yeah.
was going to say, may I ask what the Koki effect is?
It's on play minus 500 something.
Oh, okay.
Although
Yeah.
the slime one is only to the front row, so it's significantly less good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a reason Dice to Kaiki is a big meme across a lot of back row cards.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got 500 power back row. It's not Kaiki safe.
Yeah, because like the Overlord one only targets front row, so there's only 2 actual Kaikis. One of which is Kaiki itself, and then there's the Yosamatsu card.
Mm.
Because I think the Shining Resonance, not Shining Resonance. What's the one before that? Shining something.
Shining Force.
That's the one. Yeah, the green 0 of that only targets front row as well.
Yeah, Jojo has one like that as well, actually.
Although the Shining one is minus 1k to front row on play.
I think Jojo has a couple, actually. As you know, I know it's
That's kind of the green flavor, right?
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
also...
AOT has the Levi that does it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, some other interesting cards in the slime is like there's the 3/2, which is it's a 3/2 on play, pay 1, salvage a climax, which I think is very, very, very powerful. Especially because it's also got the Shimakai profile attached to it.
Seems decent, yeah.
There's also I think the star card on the reveal so far has been the level 3 slime. Just for like the third effect. Like the climax combo, which is pay 2 on attack with win, burn 2 is nice. But the fact that it's like pay 1, rest anything, play another copy of this or the 3/2 healer, like from hand onto play, is just really, really effective. Because you can trance into it as well. So you can like level 2, put out this 3/2 that plays healers from your hand, and then when you need to, you can push it forward and just deal damage.
I am super spooked for that early play combo. Dependent on what like the mystery card that will trance into it.
We were talking about this earlier. It's weird because the pay 1 rest 1 effect requires you to have the 1/0 climax combo in memory. Now the 1/0 climax combo sends itself to memory when it dies, but the question is like, will the trance interact with that 1/0 or will it interact with a different card or something?
It'll probably interact with a different card, in my opinion, probably.
Yeah, which would mean that this 3/2 would rely on 4 other cards, because it would rely on the wind, it would rely on the 1/0 climax combo, it relies on the 2/1 trancer, and then probably whatever 1/0 the trance works with,
Yeah, I mean, it's important to note that the level 3 doesn't actually specify the trance keyword on it at all.
No, it just says when it's placed on stage from hand or by the actability of some unknown card.
Yeah, and I double checked this when I was talking to James about it, that all of the other trance effects all specify trance.
Right, so it's probably more like the Vivid Red, which is like docking.
And because
typically going back a bit,
because typically trance keyword is you mix the cards together and you bring out the level 3 from the deck, if I'm remembering trance correctly.
Yeah.
I think if they did it that way but without trance keyword, then you're basically paying 2 stock for 2 bodies and 2 potential heals, which is nuts when you compare it to similar like double early play packages you have.
Yeah, it's weird because like obviously the 3/2 also specifies markers, so that would imply that whatever you use whatever the act ability is that pulls out the 3/2 turns into markers, right?
Yeah,
Which
my
is just
my
trance.
my suspicion is that they're basically doing trance, but without the specific keyword of trance, so they do the timings differently. So instead of calling from deck, I'm maintaining it as a 2-stock double early play. You're gonna have to bring the card out from hand.
I could use another more recent example as of a similar profile that doesn't use the trans keyword, and that was in Bunny Girl Senpai. I had
What
the
was?
Yeah, it had the 2-1 Rio, which basically did something to trance, but it says if your level is 2 or higher, this gains the following effect: pay 1 trance from waiting room, basically.
Right.
They could do something similar to that then.
Yeah, it makes it a bit more standby proof because you don't want to have a deck that lets you just stand by in the trance and then do it at like level 1 if you
To be
cancel.
fair, Gurren Lagann didn't use the trance keyword, did it?
Gurren Lagann did.
Did it actually use the word trance?
It didn't
Well,
use the word trans, but it was the same thing.
It's the
Yeah.
same keyword.
It had a keyword for it.
Right.
It's actually the same keyword as in Healing Logic, but like because I think everyone at first thought Healing Logic this is gonna be a unique thing to Healing Logic. Everyone
is it?
coined it as trance.
Is it actually printed the same?
It is actually printed the same, but the Healing Logic one doesn't even
Okay, I
directly
didn't realise
translate
that.
to trance. Yeah. In English, it's called fusion, which is so. I guess that's what Healing
Yeah.
Logic would be called in English as well if it came.
I mean, it could also just be like another keyword with a new name.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the card is really, really strong because like you pull out level 2, you just play a bunch of healers or another copy of itself because it's also got on play, pay 3, look at top 3, add 1. So because the pay 1, rest 1 effect puts into play from hand, if you use it to pull out another copy of itself, you get another top 3 again. So it's basically just pay 1 plus 1, which is, fairly standard, but it's still like good to have because you set up your back row for next turn. I think there's just a lot of potential to it. And like if you put down, say, the TD healer gets power based on markers as well. So you move the markers over to it, so it becomes like a 12k base.
Yeah, I think without us even knowing what this 2-1's going to be, I think that package is already looking incredibly strong.
I think like what would make it really solid is usually trance effects have like on play, put the trance target from your waiting room on the bottom of your deck, right?
Yeah.
So I think what would probably be the case is this 2-1 is probably going to be like hand bond to the 3-2 or something.
If they do it as you change from hand, I could see that being a thing on it. Or maybe they just want it. Maybe the reason it's so cheaply costed is because they want to make it a bit difficult, and they just won't print that, and you have to find it some other way.
Maybe, but I mean, like that other way is fine because that's why you have the level 1 combo, which is again another mill 2 salvage level X or lower, where X is the total level of what you milled.
Yeah, I can already see that being the main 3 package you run.
Yeah, it's just a solid engine. It's the same as
super efficient, and you get a lot of value out of what you pay for it.
Yeah, it just reminds me of the Gurren Lagann combo, and like the double combo engine from Gurren Lagann, but better. We have a level 1 that goes to memory to fuel the level 3.
Honestly, it reminds me of like the efficiency you get out of Sunshine's Chica Yo early play. Getting like Yo burns, you just have another Chica effectively, just with some like less power.
I think it just about covers the slide cards that we've got so far.
Yeah, there's a few other like double R's and rares, but they're not as spicy.
Yeah.
It's just like a brainstorm and a Ricky.
Yeah.
It is a true Ricky though, which is quite nice.
It's actually a Ricky with upside.
Well, is it the power effect? I see.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. We're calling a Ricky. That's actually a Ricky.
Yeah.
Insane.
Been a while.
Mind blown.
No on death, no from bin, no
it's literally
character
on play
lock.
from hand, pay 1, clock 1, search for a traitless level 1 or less character added to hand.
It's perfect. It is everything we've needed.
And it also has
So
on
pure.
play. It also has on play, pay 1, bounce a level 0.
Oh, it's that. Oh, man.
That is, I think, very underrated.
That is actually pretty good. I thought we just get gain power or something.
No, that's the drop search. No, they have a printed 2 not printed, but it's a 1.5k but gains 1k power. So it's basically a 2-5 Azusa.
Yeah, it's not an effect that it's probably going to get used that often unless you're trying to snipe a very like specific card.
I guess the as is actually like an on death one, right? So
Is it on death?
not-
I thought it was on play.
I thought it was on death. If you
Play.
Oh, so it's a cheery, not as a lame.
yeah, so if that was actually on play, then that's looking pretty nuts so far.
Yeah, I think that's it for slime.
Yeah. Yeah. I did kind of want to talk about Psychano at some point, but I don't think any of us are qualified enough, and also we're running pretty low on time. The thing's been going on for almost an hour and a half already.
Oof.
Oh,
I do want to really quickly talk about one last card, which is from the Razor Seal and TD.
Yeah, the level 1 combo.
No, the clock. The level 1 combo is generic as hell. It's the clock suicide. It's really interesting because it's a clock suicider, but it also has when it's reversed, your opponent heals one and then clocks the top card of their deck.
Yeah, like the Kazuma's Clock Bomb. Yeah.
No, it's that on top of Clock Bomb.
Mm.
So like, basically, when it dies, your opponent heals twice, and then you clock kick and then burn off the top of their deck. Like when I had to read it like 3 or 4 times. It's a fun card though.
So, yeah, moving on to the very last point. I guess a quick fire opinions about the new trigger that was revealed in today's stream.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming you've all seen it.
Yes.
Yep.
But for those who haven't, it's a new trigger. It's a new trigger for yellow climaxes. It's no extra soul icon on top of the trigger or anything.
Oh, there isn't.
It's just the icon on its own, I believe.
They didn't confirm that.
Oh, they didn't confirm that, all right.
But based on the effect, it's likely not to have a soul icon.
Really? Okay. I presume because of like the plussing.
And unlike standby, it's a typical continuous 1k and 1 soul, and it's in the climax area.
Mm-hmm.
But when you trigger it, you may choose a card in your waiting room
Character.
Character in your waiting room with a soul icon, soul trigger icon, and put it into either your hand or your stock.
And that is for yellow.
I think it's solid.
It's alright. It's basically better than Max.
That's not a hard margin.
It's better than the worst trigger in the game, arguably.
Exactly.
I mean, you can't really say much about it. It's just solid.
Yeah, yellow needed a plussing trigger for a while, and this is it. Like, if you look at how yellow cards have been designed over the last while, like they've cared the most about soul icons. So I think this makes sense. Like, if you think about the decks that would have played this, you're thinking like Hello Happy World would have wanted to play this. Mother's Rosario Asuna would have wanted to play this. Gilgamesh would have wanted to play this. Like, it fits in pretty well. So
I mean, like, we could even say things like Persona 5 and Summer Pockets would have preferred to have this over the Wind.
Like, even Review on the, I know, like 8-win, quote unquote, but with the fact that you can get your characters and such.
Yeah, the 3-2 banana would have liked this a lot because that deck's actually very stock heavy.
If Summer Pockets had choice instead of Wind,
I mean,
be nuts.
Because like you can just start putting your 2-1s into stock because you don't really need them anymore.
Yeah.
Or even like put them into early enough.
Yeah,
I mean,
like turn 1 or turn 2, you get them ready for the combo exactly.
Yeah,
and then late
that's
game,
also good.
Free stock.
Like the thing that like is going to pose the question though is, I wonder what combos are going to come out of it though, and like what decks are going to be changed, if any.
I don't think you go out of your way to play it for the trigger effect.
Yeah.
It's good, but it's not that good. Like,
it's comparable to Gate, but
I don't think it's as good as Gate. But
I don't think it's as appealing to run as a blank trigger as much as Gate is.
But definitely not.
If
you had the combo for it, you'd play it. But like, if you weren't playing the combo for it, you wouldn't go out of your way.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a trigger where I would not complain if this was my trigger of choice on a combo that I was running.
Yeah. All I'll say is though, I do hope that it stays with non-soul trigger on the trigger effect because we've got Wind and Shot, both of which already have a soul trigger attached on because neither of them are plussing.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, I think they should, like, if this had a soul trigger, I would borderline call it power creep.
Yeah.
I think I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Pants is the. Do we count standby as a plus in trigger?
I think you can count standby as a
Yeah.
plus. Trigger.
I
It
can't.
has
Yeah,
the
standby is already
factor
very
of
powerful
soul
for what
and
it is.
pants and everything.
Yeah,
I
think
do
standby
not
is
think standby
slightly
should have
overpowered.
a soul trigger on it.
I suppose the reason you could argue the reason it has the soul trigger on it is because when you play it, you don't actually gain any soul across the board. I suppose that could be the argument. But I suppose
but arguably getting a plus onto the board is better than getting soul across the board.
And when you trigger it, you're getting that soul plus that plus.
Because then you've also got pants, which is another plus in trigger that has a soul icon on it.
I'm okay with that though, because the plus is a detrimental plus.
It's a very selective plus, like soul.
It's not even selective.
Trigger
Like
character
if you're playing the
is
game normally and you're not like, as long as it's not turn 1, then you'll almost always have a target. It's more the case of retrieving a climax. Sure, it helps you set up your finisher, but it also means you're a tiny bit more likely to die.
Yeah.
There's a lot of situations where you don't want to grab a climax off a pants trigger.
That's why I think it's fair for pants to have the soul icon, whereas I can, like, unless you set up a very specific board, like say Nelson Touch or Kimono Friends Penguins, I can't imagine many situations where you won't mind, where you'll be like, man, I really didn't want to trigger standby right now.
Yeah,
that's kind of why I feel like choice shouldn't have the soul icon, because literally the only time it will ever be bad is when you have an empty waiting room.
That's true.
Empty waiting room waiting room of soul icons, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the only time the time it's most likely to whiff is probably just after a refresh, depending on what sort of deck state is like and damage is like.
I suppose, funnily enough, the choice trigger kind of complements a standby deck as well, because standby decks are normally filled full of triggers.
Yeah, that would be quite absurd.
Like being able to run choice and standby together, and both of them have soul triggers on them. That's a yikes.
I mean, even just in general, even if it doesn't have a soul trigger, standby choice could be pretty nuts depending on the set it's printed in.
Yeah, but I feel like
out a guy and then you just build stock for free, even though standby already got you free stock.
Yeah. I know. I think they should have, like, instead of a new trigger, they should have just gone right. Standby's cancelled. It was a mistake. We're done with this.
Like, my complaint about standby though, like, sure, it's highly powered, but I think the main problem I have is that a lot of the climax combos are geared around it. Like, I think one of the first standby combos was what? It was the I think it was the Silica, right? From Sword Art.
Did Prisma Ilya get their standby combo before that?
I don't think so.
Let's see.
If they did, people don't play it.
No, they don't play it. But it got one.
Right.
Let's see.
Bang Dreams printed alongside printed alongside a combo for it.
Bang Dream had the first standby, but it was linkless. It was a promo.
Yeah, so like from what we can tell, Bang Dream's also going to have the first choice as well.
If we're looking at like the standby combos that people actually play, you've got like Silica from Sword Art, you've got the Faris from Steins Gate, you've got the one from Starlight, you've got the one from Goblin Slayer that people sometimes play. You've got Sayakano set one, people play that. Although they don't play the combo for it, they just play blank standby, I think.
People on and off have played the Symphogear one.
What even is the Symphogear standby combo?
Take a damage restand, give out 1k to the thing you restand.
The 1-0 Chris.
Yeah.
Like this thing, like, you see what I mean? Like, all of the standby, if you look, the Silica, the Faris, the Symphogear one, they all revolve around the standby. So like, I really hope that
it seems to be the split standby combos into two things: either restanding the thing you put in, or clearing a space for the thing you're about to stand in.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I hope that they don't tunnel vision the same way with choice. Like, I just want to see like a 1-0 5k gains 1k if all your characters are trait on reverse with choice deck search, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's a bit easier for them not to force a thing, considering the choices on play is just a 1k1.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I think that's the main reason why all the standby combos are geared like that is because standby does the same thing on play than it does as a trigger.
Mm. I mean, like I can appreciate stuff like on reverse mill one, salvage one or something, because then you fuel up the waiting room ready for the choice trigger. I just don't want it to be like all about the choice. Like the way I see it, they could have just deleted shot and replaced it with choice, and I would have been happy.
Yeah, choice is perfectly fine. I'm glad that they didn't print something as unhealthy as standby was, and something that doesn't limit their my biggest issue with standby outside of like mechanics is the fact that every time they give us, they have to be very mindful of what they actually put in that set for that set and future boosters for it.
I think my only issue with choice is that we all agree that bag is the worst trigger in the game, so it would be nice for green to get something else.
Yeah, when I saw this initially, I kind of thought it was green. I looked at it and I was like, that would have been nice for green to have.
Logically, the next time they do a new trigger, it has to be green, right? I mean, we had
one now, yeah.
We had pants come first, then standby, now choice, basically.
Am I not mistaken in thinking that pants and gold bar actually released at the similar time?
You are very mistaken in that.
Gold bar's always been around.
Long time, yeah.
I thought there was actually like a graphic on the stream earlier that made it sound like
semi recent, but like it's much
Is it?
older than it. Yeah, it's like 2008, 2009 or something.
I mean, that's basically the start of the game almost.
No, because like the start of the game was like 2006.
I mean, because my very first set was Japanese Fairy Tale, and that had gold bar in, and that wasn't that long. That was only like a year or so in, a couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I think the first ever set was like the Capo, and that only had, I think that only had win bag, maybe. I think.
God, wind bag. What a timeline.
Remember, Fairy Tale is like what set? What is it?
It had gate as well and book.
Yeah, Fairy Tale is black 9.
Yeah, I'm looking at like the original Da Capo set. It had bag, wind, gate, and book.
Yeah.
So I suppose if you really want to go that far back, then yeah, gold bar came first, and then pants way after that.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the representation for the triggers, they definitely would say green's the most deserving of a new one.
Definitely. At this point, definitely.
Well, what would a green climax trigger do though? Minus power?
Don't ask Luke.
I feel like minus power is like the probably most effective thing they could do with it.
I feel like just making something that's just better bag, it would make sense. Maybe like a trigger that's like set the climax goes to bin and you blind stock 2 or something.
I feel like this is going to go on for a bit longer, and we need to wrap up the episode about now.
Fair enough.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I would just make one last point about choice though, which is that they did announce on the stream that it would start appearing from 2020 onwards. So we know it's not going to be in Real Live, we know it's not going to be in ReZero, we know it's not going to be in Slime, and it might be in Bang Dream going forward.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yes, it could also come out in the Sword Art Online set, right?
Yeah. Well, that doesn't have a release date yet, I don't think.
We might get it in Grand Order. That would be nice.
Oh, they did announce release date 24th of January. Yeah, so it might be in that. It might be in Grisaya. Might be in Grand Order. Might be in God knows what.
Interesting.
Might be in Lost Decade, which I've already decided I'm going to pick up and play no matter what.
All right. I think that's just about it then. Thanks for joining me, guys.
No worries.
I wish you all the best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Yep.
And see you at the next episode.